That's great.
And how often do you do an author event?
We try to do an author event once a month. Winter months, we've discovered it's pretty hard to get people to come out.
Yeah.
So we do a lot more events in the summer. Also, a lot of our favorite authors publish in the spring.
Sure.
So we really kind of ramp up with our book events in the spring. But we love having authors come. We love having parties.
Talk about the store. What kind of a store is it? Because it's not Once Upon a Crime.
It's not Once Upon a Crime.
It's
we try to have a little bit of everything for everybody. When Gene owned the store, it was primarily, in the mystery department, it was a lot of cozies, which John and I, neither of us are big fans of the cozies, so that's kind of fallen by. But vintage children's. Vintage children's.
Because you sell, in the picture, you can sort of tell from the pictures we have, but you sell not just new books, and not just mystery books. I think you should make it clear for our audience that this is a general bookstore, right?
Definitely a general bookstore.
And you sell a lot of new books, but you also have a huge stock of used books.
Primarily used books. The new books that we do sell are our favorite Minnesota authors. We also really try to carry the books that of the new authors that Barnes & Noble won't carry. A lot of self-published stuff that maybe other bookstores don't really look at.
Filling an unfilled niche in a lot of different ways. That's really good to know. Where's the bookstore? What's the address?
1926 2nd Avenue, right across the street from Cowboy Mel's Barbershop.
Cowboy Mel. I never heard of it.
So if you're going out to...
You need a haircut?
I need a haircut.
Do it at the same time.
Yeah. Buy a book and go read it while you're getting your haircut.
I would like to know what you feel the biggest challenges are being an independent bookstore owner in today's market.
Well,
staying afloat.
Yeah. Well, yes.
There's the day-to-day. You know, today, for example, it poured. I don't sell books when it rains. Okay. You know, you'd think that people, let's go hang out at the bookstore. It's a rainy day, but you know, we don't have great parking. So.
You said you used an interesting phrase here, hang out. Do people come and hang out at your book?
Oh, yeah, which is one of my favorite parts of being a bookstore owner. I have my regulars. I have, you know, I can almost guarantee a cup of coffee in the morning from one of my regulars. I had another regular bring me curry today. Oh. You know,
that's nice.
It's brilliant. It's people come in, they visit, they want to talk about the last great book they read.
It's almost like a small town connection.
It's exactly that. And I'm not from Anoka. I live in Arden Hills, but I've become a part of the community, and that's been such a beautiful experience for me to hook into the different things that happen in downtown Anoka. It's really a fascinating place.
There's another aspect to your bookstore that's a little unusual, and that's something called the Great Minnesota Get-Together, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why we're in business.
Really?
And that's what keeps us going. That we can, if we kind of go in terms
explain
of,
what that is.
If we can make it till August, no matter what happens, if we can make it till August, and that's from December, because we have great holiday sales. We have a really solid group of customers that make sure they do a good deal of Christmas shopping in our store, which we're so grateful for. But then we have a booth at the Minnesota State Fair, and we're in Heritage Square. It's 12 brilliant days of the most exciting book selling. The books just roll through, and we've been there. We're on our 4th year, so we've become a stop. And people say to me all the time, I can't believe that people buy books at the fair.
Oh, why not? Well, do you carry say Minnesota books at that time primarily, or what?
We found that it's rather interesting. We know the first couple days of the fair what's going to be big. Okay. One year it'll be quilting, one year it'll be gardening. Last year hunting and fishing just flew off the shelves. It was wonderful. But we also have a huge Minnesota section. We have our Minnesota authors that stop by, which is fantastic. And so the public is really interested to see who's going to be there, and that's very gratifying. But we also we'll sell every Nancy Drew book we have in the store.
No
so we
kidding.
collect them through the year. Tom Swift, Hardy Boys, all those series books.
Trixie Belden.
Plus, if Trixie Belden, if we can find them, they're hard to find. Plus, we'll sell a ton of Harry Potter. We'll sell, you know, and we also have.
We should go.
Well, we should.
We should.
We should go.
Crime Wave should do,
Always.
should do an appearance there
Yeah.
someday, shouldn't
Well, we were hoping to.
we? We were going to, we just
Well,
never
let's work
got-
on that for
we'll
next
work that
summer.
out for this.
Yeah, and Kent, you know, Kent's big at the fair. He does a thing separate, I believe, with his church, and
That's right,
So
yes.
he
He's there a lot.
stops
He's
by
there a
the
lot,
booth regularly, and people get very excited.
Yeah.
In fact, I had one lady who was telling me as I was selling her. This was with Thunder Bay. As I was selling her a copy of Thunder Bay, she was telling me what a wonderful author he was, and how enamored she was with his books. As he walked up behind her, and I got to say, he happens to be standing, and her face, it was
I'm surprised
brilliant.
he didn't walk up and say, "Hey, I've heard that's a really good book." That's what he usually
That's what he often does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the business of finding, collecting used books, because it's not like, you know, the new bookstore operator gets on the phone or goes to the internet and dials up Ingram or whoever one of the distributors are and says, "Send me 64 copies of X."
Right.
You can't do that with used books. No.
But I assume people come to you.
Our books walk through the door.
Yeah.
And when the economy was better, we would, when we were in a position to purchase large collections, we'd go out to people's homes and go through stuff.
you did.
But we have almost entirely switched over to a trade credit basis for our books. And which
What does that mean?
people bring books in. We give them a dollar amount on a card, and they can use it for anything used in the store.
All right.
And you know, it's kind of hard when people are looking for cash for their books, and we
Sure.
can't give it to them. And some days we can. It depends on the day. But books just come. They come in massive quantities. In fact, often we have to put a sign on the door that says we're not accepting books because we just
Sure.
have too many.
You have too many. Sure, you run out of space. I know about that. My wife is after me to get rid of some of my books.
Oh, yeah.
Because any interesting, funny stories about getting used books from people that you can relate to us?
The funniest thing that happens is we have a back alley, and I'll drive up sometimes in the morning, and there'll be boxes and boxes of books, like
Just dropped off.
foundling children.
Really?
Left
they
on my
drop
back
them off
door.
and hope that you'll
man.
take care of
Yep.
them. Oh, isn't
And they're
that
just
interesting?
free and just take what you want and
And it's a beautiful thing, and it's interesting because we almost have kind of a reverence for those types of situations because we've found some of our most valuable material in those gifts.
Well, you know, I was at your store once, and I remember after everything was done, you said, "Oh, you have to see this book," and you went back and you brought out this enormously old, like paper. It was like the size of a
pocket.
mass
It's a
market.
pocketbook.
It's a pocketbook, but it was
Right.
like from the 1600s.
1609.
Yeah.
And it's a book, it's one of my favorite books in the store. It is in Latin, and it's vellum,
Really?
and it's
Isn't this amazing?
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, and De Officica by Cicero,
Really?
and
How about that?
it's I just love to hold it. I
I'm
love to
sure,
show it to
I'm
people.
Sure. It must be just.
It speaks to my
really
book
fun.
lover's soul.
Yeah.
So you open all the time? What are your
We're
hours
open
like, generally
Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sundays 11 to 4, closed on Mondays.
Wow. And you love it, I can tell.
I love it. Yeah. It is just joyful.
That's wonderful.
It really
joyful,
is.
Except for the business angles. Yeah.
You know, that is the tough part, but I knew going into it that that was going to be the thing that we were just going to have to deal with, because neither John nor I had any experience in the book business. Yeah. And we knew
Fast
that,
learners,
especially the first few years, we were going to be kind of flying by the seats of our pants. But we do it because we love it. We hope that that translates to our customers.
Oh, it does. Absolutely does. Yeah.
This has been wonderful. Very
it has
interesting.
been. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And go to J. O'Donohue Books.
Yes,
that's right.
often.
Often
in Anoka. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with some closing comments. Thank you very much.